I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Dante Fabro of the Nashville Predators.
This is Philip Forsberg of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Colton Sissons of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Eustace Aros of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the Bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. And before we get started with no half-step in hockey coverage, first let me direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you'll learn everything you need to know about the show and what you can educate about the show. Well, click on the merchandise tab, take you straight to our classic logo t-shirt and all the games you come to know and love and expect from the Renegades of Puck. Socks, throw pillows, wall art, bed sets makes no difference to the Renegades of Puck. Something like 88 different items in our online store. The best way to say is that we've sold out so that you can buy in. Social media is of critical importance to this independent and unaffiliated operation, so here's how you can jump in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. We are trying to build up our brand new account on Threads, so please give us a follow over there on Threads. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and yes, still lingering around on X. So please, if you can, take a second, give us a follow on any one of those platforms, whatever it is that you prefer. It doesn't take you but a second. It doesn't cost you a single thing. It's all there for free from the Renegades of Puck. Well, and all the social media platforms that make it free. Right? We were smart enough to register there. So follow us along. Help us out. You can find the show on YouTube, of course. So please subscribe to our channel, Renegades of Puck, and turn on those notifications. Get the latest episodes and the latest videos and the latest content from everything we do, not just Nashville Predators coverage, but we also cover junior hockey here in the Nashville area with the Red River Spartans, and we cover so much more. So to make sure you follow along on the YouTube page. You can also donate to the show if you'd like. We have a swear/tip jar over there on the corner of the desk. You can scan that QR code, or you can just go to Venmo and you can search out Renegades of Puck. Any donation goes a long way to helping this independent and unaffiliated operation, so please, if you can spare it, we sure could use it. It's how we've remained in business for the last 5 years, is thanks to dedicated Renegades just like you watching right now. So we appreciate that. Stick taps, love, and respect, Renegades. Thanks for keeping me working for the last couple of years. Now listen, I know it's time for the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, so let me get to the goods. It's time for operation number 931. That is right. It is time for show number 931, and at this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in 7th place in the Central Division after 20 games skated. That's right, we are a quarter of the way through this current season. The Preds record, though, 6-11-3, leaves quite a bit to be desired. 15 points as well. They are 17 points behind first place Winnipeg, who happens to be the Predators' next opponent, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. That'll take place on home ice, where the Predators are 4-6-0. On the season, the Preds have scored 46 times. They've given up 64 goals against a goal differential of -18. Now, for the Predators, very quickly and exclusively, the next games for them on the schedule the next week ahead looks like this. After this game against Winnipeg at home, back on the road Monday at New Jersey, and then Wednesday back home versus Philadelphia, Thanksgiving, and then the 29th versus Tampa Bay, the 30th at Minnesota, and the 4th of December at the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, for the Predators and the Winnipeg Jets, this is the first of 4 regular season meetings. The next time they will meet will be on December the 30th in Winnipeg, and then on January the 7th, so just a week later, also taking place in Winnipeg. They'll come back to Bridgestone Arena for the 4th final game of the season series on February the 27th. Now, to talk about the Winnipeg Jets means to talk about the entirety of the Central Division. So let's give you the Jets record, update you on the Central, then we'll start talking about the Winnipeg Jets and the matchup exclusively. The Winnipeg Jets come into this game in first place in the Central Division, no matter what happens in their game Friday night at Pittsburgh. The Jets currently 19 games skated. They will be at 20 by the time they come to Bridgestone Arena. 16-3-0 is their record on the season. 32 points, first place in the Central Division. 17 points ahead of the Nashville Predators at this moment in time. On the road, a record of 7-2. They've scored 80 times this season. They've given up just 46. That's a goal differential of plus 34 through just the first quarter of the season. That is a highly impressive statistical metric. Now, before we get into the Winnipeg Jets and their most recent stretch of hockey, let's go back and talk about the Central Division, the most recent standings. The Winnipeg Jets, of course, first place, 32 points. Behind them by 5 points, the Minnesota Wild at 27. Then the Dallas Stars find themselves in third place at 24 points. The Colorado Avalanche are in fourth place in the Central with 20 points on the season. And then a bit of a jumble, which if the Nashville Predators could get going in a northward direction, could overtake a couple of these teams quickly. Utah Utah and St. Louis, 5th and 6th in the Central at 17 points. And then the Nashville Predators at 15 points with Chicago in last place at 13. Now, the Winnipeg Jets, I promised you their most recent stretch of 5, so let's go back to the 9th of November. 4-1 win versus Dallas on the 12th of November, 6-3 win at the New York Rangers. On the 14th of November, a 4-1 loss at Tampa Bay, a 5-0 loss at Florida followed that on the 16th of November. The most recent completed game for this Winnipeg Jets team took place on the 19th of November, a 6-3 win versus Florida. So a home against the Florida Panthers. Now Friday in Pittsburgh before Saturday coming to Nashville at Bridgestone Arena. So the Predators will be catching the red-hot Winnipeg Jets on the second night of back-to-backs while also traveling. Any benefit for the Nashville Predators at this moment in time. Now, let's bring the Nashville Predators back into the conversation, and it's not going to be a pretty one. The matchups between these two teams, the current NHL rankings, goals for. On the Winnipeg side, highly impressive. 4.21 goals per game is second best in the NHL, while the Predators are 30 positions in the NHL behind the Winnipeg Jets. 2.3 goals per game is 32nd or last in the National Hockey League. In the goals against category, Winnipeg also another top 5 metric right here, 2.42 goals given up per game, 5th best in the NHL. The Predators, 18th best in the NHL, 3.20 goals per game. So the Predators giving up almost a full goal more than they are scoring, while Winnipeg is scoring 1.8 more goals per game than they are giving up. Again, you don't start off the season 16-3 without putting up some pretty impressive statistical metrics. Shots for category, Predators 29.7 per game is 15th. Winnipeg 30.5 per game is 9th. That's the third consecutive top 10 metric. They will break that streak coming up in the next category. For the Predators, 29.7 was 15th. I might have mentioned that already. Shots against 30 for Nashville is 24th in the league. 29.2 for Winnipeg is 19th in the NHL. So the first metric outside of the top 10, but they're jumping back into that on the special teams conversation. 22.2% for the Predators on the power play conversion rate. That's 10th best in the league. 14 conversions out of 63 opportunities. The Winnipeg Jets, though, 20 conversions out of 56 opportunities. That's 35.7% conversion rate. That is by far the best in the NHL at this moment in time. They will be facing off against the number 1 penalty kill unit, which could create some interesting moments in this game. 91.3% is the Predators' kill rate. That is the best in the league. They've only given up 6 power play goals against on the season. When it comes to the penalty kill for the Winnipeg Jets, 17th rated in the NHL, 79.2% is their kill rate. They have given up 10 power play goals against. Individual statistics and scoring leaders for each of these teams, we'll go through the top 5, but it is highly impressive. And I'm going to start out by saying this point. The 5th scorer would be higher than the Nashville Predators' top scorer. So Winnipeg would have all top 5 of their scores above the Nashville Predators before you even got to Philip Forsberg at 15 points. His breakdown is 8 goals and 7 assists. The captain Romaniossi's at 2 goals and 12 assists for 14 points. O'Reilly's at 3 and 8 for 11. Stamkos 6 and 4 for 10. Jonathan Marchessault's at 3 and 7 for 10 total points. Now, I mentioned those Winnipeg stats, and they are pretty gaudy for this early in the season. They have 4 players that are averaging a point per game so far this season. That would be their top 4 scorers. And it's a race at the top. Scheifele, 12 goals, 12 assists. That's good balance for 24 points. Connor doing the same thing at 12 for 24. And both of those players typically have very solid performances against the Nashville Predators. Ehlers is at 9 goals and 13 assists for 22 points. Morrissey's at 2 goals and 17 assists for 19 points on the season. And Pionk 3 and 14 for 17. Hellebuck, the Nashville Predators rival for many, many years, anticipated to get the start net. Actually, it'll depend on how the deployment goes on the back-to-back with Pittsburgh on Friday night and then Nashville on Saturday night. So to be determined, but I want to give you Hellebuck's numbers because they're highly impressive. 13-2-0 at 2.20 goals against a 923 save percentage. Already 3 shutouts out of his 13 victories. 3 of those are shutouts on the season. UC Saros, 5-9-2. The record, no, not that impressive, but after the road trip, the rest of the numbers are quite quite good. 2.52 goals against average. Now, compare that again to what we were just talking about with Connor Hellebuck, 2.20 versus 2.52. If the Predators could just find a way to score more than 2.3 goals per game, 2.52 would hold up for the Predators and UC Saros, but that's why the loss records for UC Saros is so bad, because the offense is so bad. 916 save percentage for UC Saros and 2 shutouts out of his 5 victories on the season. So for UC Saros, he practically has to pitch a shutout just to pick up a victory. That's going to get you all set. Excited, always an exciting night when the Winnipeg Jets come to Bridgestone Arena. These two teams have been division rivals for quite some time. Some very funny moments, some very aggressive moments, a lot of physicality between these two clubs over the years, and some really, really important hockey games back just a few seasons ago. And for the Nashville Predators, they may be down, but the season's only a quarter of the way over, so they're not out. And a jolt from a division rival and a team as good as the Winnipeg Jets, maybe, I don't know. We're all grasping at straws trying to figure out what the hell this Predators team is going to do and what they're going to be moving forward. But maybe the first of 4 games against Winnipeg is the beginning of a spark that gets this Predators team fired up. Well, after all, the get your shit together road trip certainly didn't take care of that business. We got the Rebirth Sports full game recap. It's coming up next right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast. See you in just a sec.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We'll go all the way back November 20th, year 2024, when the Nashville Predators were in Seattle to take on the Kraken in Game 5 of the CMA road trip. Head coach Andrew Burnett deploys his lines and his defensive pairings in the following combinations: Forsberg, O'Reilly, and Nyquist; Stamkos, Sissons, and Tomasino; Parson, Novak, and Marchessault; LaRue, McCarron, and Smith make up your fourth line. Shea and Yossi, Luzon and Carrier, Del Gaiso, and Shen make up your defensive pairings. UC Saros gets the start in net in Seattle. 41 seconds into the first period, and UC Saros coming with a save on Beniers' first shot on goal of the game. At the 43-second mark of the game, the Nashville Predators are assessed a bench minor for incorrect lineup. That's right. The lineup that was submitted was not the lineup that was started. Therefore, the Nashville Predators are in violation of the rules and are assessed a 2-minute minor. Good job by the Seattle Kraken coaching staff for catching this and alerting the referees. Saros has to come up with a save on Tolvanen at close range immediately on a heavy shot, and then Saros has to deal with Tolvanen's heavy one-timer again, this time from a little more distance, but even heavier. And then Saros comes up with a save on Montour. He also put some juice on that shot, so UC Saros already off to a very good start in just the first couple of minutes of this game. 3:45 now at the first period. It's Decord coming up with a save on Shen. Not actually the first shot on goal for the Predators, but the first touch for Decord in this game. It would take till 4:40 of the first period when Decord would come up with a save on Alex Carey. That would officially be determined to be the first shot on goal for the Nashville Predators. 7:58 of the first period. Now Decord comes up with a save on Marchessault. At the 8:39 mark, Myers off the box. 2 minutes for slashing. It's going to be Decord coming up with a save on Forsberg. But the real story out of this penalty kill was the Seattle Kraken and the number of blocked shot attempts. The Nashville Predators could not get anything from the outside to the net, and this was a real Herculean effort by the Seattle Kraken over this course this penalty kill. 13:49 now. The first period is Decord coming with a save on Nyquist. A stick check by the D from behind prevented a much better scoring chance, and it was just perfectly timed at first. It's one of those plays where it looks like it's certainly a penalty, but upon review, it was the perfection of a stick check on defense. Perfectly clean there. 14:09 now. The first period, Saros coming with a save on McCann. 15:37. Decord comes up with a save on Del Gaiso. 17:58 of the first period, Captain Roman Yossi off to the box. 2 minutes for cross-checking. UC Saros comes up with a save on Sprong. The puck trickles just wide of the post at the buzzer. The Nashville Predators survive here at the end of the first period. They kill off that penalty. Seattle outshoots Nashville overall in the first period by a total of 10-6, but UC Saros definitely had a heavy workload for just 10 shots on goal. 6 seconds now into the second period, and Saros already back to work, this time coming up with the save on Sprong at the 2:55 mark of the second period. It's Mara off the box, 2 minutes for interference. This is going to allow Decord to come with the save on Stamkos, and then again, numerous shot blocks here by this Seattle Kraken team. Just incredible the amount of sacrifice they're willing to put in. They're blocking everything. As a matter of fact, after the power play is over, we would see several minutes without the Predators able to get a shot on goal, even though they maintained possession and continued on in the Seattle defensive zone. But it was the Kraken just simply blocking shot attempts left and right. At 7:08 of the second, now we find Marchessault off the box, 2 minutes for tripping. Saros comes with the save on Montour through traffic. Good tracking and vision right here. Saros then another save on McCann. Unfortunately for the Predators, though, not much even strength hockey after that penalty kill because it's 11:21. Carrier's off the box. 2 minutes for tripping. Now, this was one that I really thought for just a second could have been a penalty shot, perhaps. Not all of the criteria was met here. Not a clean breakaway, but it was a partial breakaway and a scoring chance prevented by Alex Carrier. UC Saros comes up with a save on Sprong once and then comes up with another save on Sprong. The Predators penalty kill, the number one unit in the NHL, continues doing the heavy lifting out there on the ice for the Nashville Predators. 14:38 now. The second Saros comes up with a save on Tolvanen's one-timer. Now 15:54. Sprong breaks through for Seattle. His second goal of the season, first of the game for the Kraken. He keeps it in. It's a keep in at the blue line by the defense, and then a sauce pass to the slot, and then the backdoor slam by Sprong to make things happen right here, putting Seattle Kraken up 1-0, 16:54 the second period now. Saros comes up with a save on Beniers, 18:01. Saros a save on Borgen, plus the follow-up by Schwartz, 18:53. Saros a save on Stevenson, and 19:59. Saros a save right here at the post. Unbelievable job by UC Saros to keep his Nashville Predators in this one here in the second period. The Seattle Kraken generate 17 shots on goal in the middle frame, now 27 for the game. The Predators are at 14 shots on goal for the game, down 1-0. And in between periods, the national broadcast took the entire intermission to talk about the listless Nashville Predators offense. Now, the Predators aren't watching those comments in the locker room, but I imagine the coaching staff was accentuating many of the same points in just a different way. Let's see how the Nashville Predators come out in the third period and respond. 22 seconds into the third period, it's Montour scoring his fifth goal of the season. That's how the Predators respond. A tip in off of Stevenson's feed. That gives the Seattle Kraken a 2-0 lead here early in the third period. The 4:24 mark of the third period, UC Saros comes up with a save on Borgen. At the 5:54 mark, Decord comes up with a save on LaRue. All alone in front. The Nashville Predators' best scoring chance of the entire game. LaRue could not finish. 6:49. The third period's Decord coming with a save on Forsberg. At the 10:38 mark, it appears that Tommy Novak scores a goal. It goes off the skate and in. Has to be reviewed. A distinct kicking motion was determined to be utilized to put the puck in the net, so the goal is taken off of the board, and the Nashville Predators' hopes of getting back in this one fading quickly as Seattle's 2-0 lead is restored. 13:57 now of the third. It's Montour off the box, 2 minutes for slashing. If the Preds are going to make something happen, they're not going to make anything happen. Decord comes up with a save on Marchessault, and at 17:17, Gord gets an empty net goal, his second of the season, to give the Kraken their 3-0 lead in this game. That would be your final. Seattle Kraken would outshoot the Nashville Predators 36-24. So the Nashville Predators get 6 shots on goal in the first period. They end up at 14. So that's 8 in the second period. And they end up, at 24 for the game. 10 shots on goal there in the third period. And they almost scored a goal, too. Almost. 3-0 in favor of the Seattle Kraken. The Nashville Predators finish the CMA road trip with a 1-2-2 road record. If it was the get your shit together road trip, I don't know what that means, as you are walking headfirst into a buzzsaw known as the Winnipeg Jets in the next game. But We'll talk about it. We'll find something to pull out of the box score, the analysis, and more. It's the Renegades of Puck podcast. That was the Rebirth Sports full game recap.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness. And that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
Welcome back in Renegades of Puck podcast. And you know what? I am going to make this analysis segment because I don't feel like it. They didn't feel like it. I don't feel like it. How about that? Fair trade in energy and resource management. If the Predators aren't going to put in any effort in a game that I had to stay up till after midnight to watch, then I'm not going to put in all the effort to do the analysis. How about that? It works out pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah, it kind of sucks, doesn't it? That's how your fan base feels right now. You can't hide it just because you're on the West Coast and it's the middle of the night. You can't hide performances like this one. The only bright spot for this Nashville Predators team in this game, it is UC Saros. If you watched UC Saros and didn't come away impressed and think, wow, this is easily one of the best goaltenders in the NHL, you're insane. 33 out of 35, and he was just outstanding. The only one that showed up in this game, and I was having fun looking up UC Saros' career numbers, stats, things like that during the game because the Predators weren't accomplishing shit. So it was easier to Google things than it was to watch the Preds play. And, well, for UC Saros, we should be celebrating his 200th career victory soon if the Predators can figure out what they're doing and start winning some games on a more consistent basis. He's 13 wins away from his 200th career win. That is a monumental moment considering how young UC Saros still is in his overall career and how many years he has on the new contract that he signed. UC Saros could easily push Pekka Rinne's franchise numbers in every single metric, in every single way, and that is a damn impressive thought to have, considering Pekka Rinne is basically top 20 in NHL history for goaltender. So UC Saros got some conversation right there because he stood on his head. He stood out. He got the only positive conversation on the national broadcast. And, oh, man, it was bad. A truly forgettable performance by everyone not named UC Saros. I didn't see the compete level. I didn't see team cohesion. I didn't see conviction. I didn't see battle. I didn't see willingness to go in the trenches and sacrifice. The physicality was light, taking shot after shot after shot from the outside and getting nothing through. Seattle, that's a team that looked like they were committed to their game plan. That's a team that looked like whether it was going to be a 1-goal, 2-goal, 3-goal, ugly-ass goal game, that the Seattle Kraken were willing to fight that battle from the beginning to the end. And if it wasn't for UC Saros, this is another laugher, just like the score the first time the two teams met when it was 7-3 in favor of Seattle. This time 3-0. So Seattle's now 2-0 against the Preds this year, and they've outscored the Preds 10-3. And they're talking on the national broadcast about how the Kraken saved their season on a homestand. What could this road trip have done for the Predators if they had come into Seattle after that Vancouver game and delivered the same level of effort? No compete, no willingness to bring the jam. I mean, you see it with your own eyes. You hear it with your own ears. And you have to know the team is in trouble. Now, listen. I know Paul Bissonnette, Biznasty. I know he's been a media personality, a bit of a media darling the last couple of years, so he's not new to the scene. But everybody who covered the NHL when Paul Bissonnette was a player knows what role Paul Bissonnette played, how limited he played, and how little he had to do with the success or failure of his teams on a night-in and night-out basis. So for a player of Paul Bissonnette's caliber, who's there essentially to be comic relief on that national broadcast, when he has the high ground on this Nashville Predators team and spends virtually the entire second intermission, I would just link the entire clip and let him explain this all to you again, but I don't feel like getting sued by NBC or another cease and desist letter from another network. So Paul Bissonnette eviscerated the Nashville Predators team. It's a horrifying thing if you're a Nashville Predators fan to be staying up in the middle of the night to watch your goaltender battle it out and keep you alive in this thing just to hear some old fourth line scrub run your team down and talk about what garbage they are offensively, and to have everyone else sitting up there just nodding along saying continue on, no pushback, no argument. You know why? Because there's nothing to push back on. It could have made good TV if there was an argument to be made for Henrik Lundqvist to push back on Paul Bissonnette and say, well, the Predators are doing XYZ and they're just not breaking through. But no, when they show a highlights reel package of the Predators offense in the second period and it's 3 shots on goal and they're all from out far away, no traffic in front, no compete, no scrums after the whistles, no nothing. I don't get it. And for the Predators, they've now lost another regular season series. That's 2 games against the Seattle Kraken, who are not that good of a team. They're a middle-of-the-pack team, and the Predators have been outscored 10-3 by the Kraken. So for the Nashville Predators, they've already lost regular season series to multiple teams. This is not good. It's not good. This was supposed to be the get your shit together road trip. A quarter of the way through the season, I don't care that you have new players that are high dollar players. There's not a business in the world that after a quarter of the way through the season, if the new plan is failing to this level, a quarter of the way through the business year, a quarter of the way through a season, that changes aren't expected to be made and expected to be made dramatically and quickly. I don't see the Predators having the stomach to do the things that they may need to do coming back from this road trip. There is not a single person in the front office or behind the bench that deserves to be spared hyper-criticism at this moment in the season. A quarter of the way through, the team is in 7th place, 6-11-3, and went on a spending spree in the offseason for proven winners to make a run at a Stanley Cup. The only thing you're making a run at right now is to be first at the unemployment line this NHL season. But the Bruins have already made that dramatic move. They've already changed their head coach. I wonder who the first GM to be fired will be. It won't be Barry Trotz. This is the same conversation we had for years when Barry Trotz was the head coach. It's never going to be Barry Trotz's head. He's never going to fall on the sword, and he's going to be allowed to continue to do the things he's done. This is starting to look like criminal mismanagement by the general manager of this Nashville Predators team in bringing in the amount of high-dollar veteran talent and telling the crowd and telling the fan base that they were going for it. That's some analysis for you right there, isn't it? Stripe Digital Solutions is coming up next. And you know what? As a matter of fact, there's not even any reason to come back from that. Let's just go ahead and close the show out. The digital environment can be quite intimidating, time-consuming, and cumbersome, especially with all those other areas that need attention at your business. And that's why Stripe Digital Solutions is here to help. I know, because that's exactly what Stripe Digital Solutions did for me and the Renegades of Puck. From designing my home website and helping me create my merchandise to special event posters, brand building, and social media management. But it's not just that, it's so much more. Stripe Digital Solutions has helped me every step of the way. From startup to full-time operation, Stripe Digital Solutions has been there to assist and advise every single step of the journey. In today's fast-paced world, the path to success is having a strong digital partner, and nobody is better in the trenches than Brandy and Stripe Digital Solutions. Get the solution before it's even a problem with Stripe Digital Solutions. Skipping the box score, what's the point? You know, I rambled on for a little bit. That's probably a better place to leave it. And I'll just close by saying the Get Your Shit Together road trip ends at 1-2-2, 4 out of 10 points, a brutal performance to end it. And that should leave everything up in the air. The first place Winnipeg Jets are coming into Bridgestone Arena. I don't know what the Nashville Predators are going to do, how they're going to react. But when they are run down to that level on a national broadcast, they're embarrassed like that at the end of their road trip. And it's not the first time. The Kings shut them out 3-0. It was humiliating. The Florida Panthers beat their brains in, and then they go out to the West Coast and they suffer a couple of bad losses after it seemed like the beginning of the road trip they were starting to gain some momentum. They were coming back. They were picking up a couple of points, and they had a decent game in Vancouver, and then that's it. It's over. Road trip's over, and everything should now be in question for this Nashville Predators team. Nobody should feel comfortable in the position that they have except for UC Saros, because, let's face it, there are no other goaltenders in the pipeline at this point. Askarov now called up for the San Jose Sharks. Lankinen playing for the Vancouver Canucks and playing quite well, and Scott Wedgwood is not a very high performer at this moment so far as a Nashville Predator. So for the Predators, they got to figure out what the hell they're going to do moving forward. There's 3/4 of the season to go, and you're already starting to see the fan base start to wander. Usually they start to engage by Thanksgiving, so you still have that grace period where football, college football first, and then the NFL later, but your NFL teams are mostly out of it by now, unless they're really in it. It's not here in Nashville. So you have that window where people will re-engage over Thanksgiving, over the holidays, and if the Predators can start skating in a good direction, competing, and at least bringing some excitement to the rink, then the fans will continue to come out. But I am telling you right now, if we are at the halfway mark of this season and the numbers just duplicate what they did in the first 20, so the Predators are at 12 wins and 22 losses and 6 overtime losses, and they only have 30 points, you're going to have to break this whole thing up. Then it was an extremely unsuccessful operation, and you're going to have to retrofit it immediately. And, now you're going to be forced into rebuild because you've wasted a whole lot of your resources and your money for the next couple of years. Hey, maybe it'll all turn around instantly, though, after 20 games. You never know, right? That's going to do it for Operation number 931. That's going to do it. Everybody have a great night. Appreciate your viewership, appreciate your time, and most importantly, I just appreciate you. Wish the Preds were playing better. It makes things so much easier. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick taps, love, and respect.